Nerevar, I made a discovery today. I was walking back to the Strider port after picking up more cinnamon-scented candles for the 6th House bases. I get them from a small boutique candle shop in Suran called Decadence. No, I don't need cinnamon-scented ones for any ritual or purpose, I just enjoy them. I am allowed to just enjoy things, Nerevar. Anyway, I was walking down a road I had never been on before, and I saw a sign that just said Wraps, and I was curious. It was on a small, heavily dilapidated building that looked like it had been condemned for decades. It had boarded up windows, and there was a homeless man passed out in front of it. I was incredibly hungry, though, and the concept of wraps intrigued me, so I entered. Inside was hazy and full of the scent of skooma pipes. There were a surprising amount of myrrh inside, about 6 of them, all sitting and eating wraps. It had wall hangings from the late Second Era in it, a pin-up poster of Berenzia in her prime, and a framed newspaper bragging about how Talos had eaten there. There was a thick layer of grime on the floor, heavier towards the edges. The tables were made of peeling particle board, and the seat hurt my godly ass. But I persevered. I didn't see anyone at the counter, so I sat down at one of the booths. No one showed up for so long I was nearly ready to leave, but after around 20 minutes someone came out of the back. It was a small, very old Bosmer. He looked awful. The years had not been kind to him. And he reeked of Sujama. I knew at this point that I was probably in for the best food that I had ever eaten in my life. I was handed a hastily and poorly written menu with 8 menu items on it and ordered the crispy guar wrap. Nerevar, in my experience, there is a rule for local non-chain restaurants. Assume a 2-axis graph, with the up and down axis being quality of food and the left and right axis being quality of the building. That graph is shaped like a letter U. If a restaurant is well maintained, it is probably pretty good because it is doing well enough to keep itself together. If it is in the middle, it's probably a mediocre restaurant and might be closing soon. But if the building looks like garbage beyond belief, then the only possible way that that restaurant is still open is if the food they are serving is a gift from the divine tonal song of Nirn itself. Anything less than the best food you have ever had in your life would fail to sustain a restaurant that disgusting. Anyway, after another 30 minutes of waiting, I was handed my wrap. Nerevar. It was like becoming a god again. I felt like I understood the song and the dream like I never had before. This wrap, made of cheap and low-grade materials, nearly melting through the blue plate it was served on with grease, with chunks of unidentifiable meat suspended in a thick matrix of grilled onions and cheese sauce, was a gift from Jeffrey himself. Hermamora is likely scheming as we speak to acquire this random Bosmer's wrap recipes. The Hunding would shove aside the greatest armada Elvenkind had ever assembled just for a taste. This Bosmer clearly seduced the very Earthbones themselves to alter the fundamental rules of reality to create a wrap so perfect. Anu and Padhom awaken from their long slumber to take notice every time he cooks. The very Godhead itself would likely be roused to wakefulness with the mere scent of one of these wraps. I felt every single artery and blood vessel in my perfect body seize up, and I was more satisfied at the end of that meal than at the end of any other meal I have ever experienced. I thanked the Bosmer for the wrap, marked the location on my map so I would be able to find it again, and set out. I am currently trying to find more excuses to go to Suran, but I have already gotten far too many candles with repeat trips. I think he recognizes me now. Soon I shall drive the mongrel dogs of the Empire from Morrowind, and one of my first acts as the one true god of the Dunmer people is going to be ensuring the immortality of that Bosmer.